All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting one-shot adventure. If you are unaware, for the month of December, I do this thing called Daily December, where I make a video every single day on my YouTube channel. And every year, it's a learning experience. I try new things. I try to push myself to do different things. And this year, I decided that I don't punish myself enough. So I decided that I was going to run a different RPG that I have never run before every Wednesday night. And thus far, it's been an absolute blast. We did The Strange in the month of December. We did The Strange the first week. Last week, we did Avatar Legends, a role-playing game, which is their brand new RPG. It looks amazing. It comes out, I think, in February or next summer, somewhere around there. And then this week, we're going to be running Dune Adventures in the Imperium, which is the brand new Dune role-playing game that just came out this past summer and is phenomenal. It's a really cool system. It's a super high-quality book, and I love it. So, that being said, I have some masochists that wanted to try something new. One of them who is relatively well knowledgeable, or maybe extremely knowledgeable, about the Doom universe, and two others that just know that the spice must flow. So, let's go ahead and have everyone real quick just introduce yourself. Feel free to give a little background in just your tabletop RPG experiences, and also introduce your character that you will be playing. So let's start with Anna, since she's on the far left. This is actually Anna Margrave, played by Scott.
Yeah, I am Scott playing the Margrave basic the secret novice. I have been playing RPG for about 6, 7 years, but the vast majority of that time have been D&D 5e, so I play it out.
Lots of fun. And you said Anna is Bene Gesserit, right?
Yeah.
If anyone is unaware, the Bene Gesserit are interesting. Effectively,
so much info.
The Bene Gesserit are kind of almost they're an organization that manipulates information. And they do this, it's an entirely female organization, and they do this by marrying off members of Bene Gesserit to powerful people. And one of the unique things about them is they have supernatural control over their biology, to the point where they can choose the gender and the genetic traits that are transferred to their children when they have them. They also have a couple other kind of supernatural abilities. The voice is one of them, where high-ranking Bene Gesserit can actually control people's actions through manipulation of their vocal cords. But it's all based on the idea that they can control like individual muscle fibers and individual biological systems in their bodies. So yeah, cool people. Lots of fun espionage type stuff. Next up, we're going to do Corbin, who's played by Daniel.
Hello, everyone. My name's Daniel. I've been mainly I started tabletop gaming with 5e, and I've played a couple of other systems actually. I forgot I've actually played like Iron Kingdoms and Deadlands every now and then, as well as various forms of Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm playing Corbin Brolic, who is a reformed spice smuggler. Born into a family, everything was great until the Harkonnens got a little too close, and then everything went bad very fast. Basically, my entire family has been rounded up and imprisoned by the Harkonnens. I took everything I have and used every favor up to get off planet to join the Atreides, just in time for them to come back to Dune. So, um,
So just to clarify for me,
mhm.
you were born on Arrakis,
I
or
was I was
okay,
brought up on Arrakis
so okay,
as part of a spice smuggling family.
so little bit of background that everyone would know. House Harkonnen was the imperial house that used to control Arrakis until very recently. They came out of favor with the royal house. What's Daniel? What's the name of?
Oh, the Padishah Emperor.
Yeah, out of favor with the Padishah Emperor, and as a way to punish him, he took away House Harkonnen's control of Arrakis, which is effectively the most valuable planet in the solar system because it's the only place where the spice melange can be harvested, and the spice melange is essential for all space travel. So all intergalactic trade, everything, you have to have spice to do it. There's no way to artificially create it. You have to have spice. So whoever controls spice literally controls the galaxy. And the Padishah Emperor will have one of the houses oversee Arrakis, even though the Emperor owns Arrakis. He will have one of the houses oversee it, and they get to make most of the profit from it. They still give a generous supply of the profits to the Padishah Emperor as a thank you for allowing them to run the planet. But so the Harkonnens are known to be a very bloodthirsty, very vicious house. That being said, let's move over to Talia, who's being played by Ilea.
Hello, I'm Ilea. Let's see, I played my first tabletop RPG technically in 2012 with second edition D&D, but really got into it with fifth edition in 2015. And thank you, Jody, for being one of those people. Be like, oh, you want to play? Come play a game with me. Oh, you're a chaotic bard. Holy hell. Okay.
Somebody come and play.
So yeah, I managed to find a character who is basically all of my characters rolled into one, and I've played in a decent number of systems. Definitely nowhere near as many as Jody, but I often play games with Jody, so I get to play fun systems that way. So Talia Carell, or Carol, because it's Christmas time, and why not? Uh, was living on the streets and was rescued by House Atreides. So they are very loyal to them, but they are a criminal. And although they've learned how to move within polite society, they are prone to violence if they feel threatened. So in short, most of my characters have combined in some way. If I can find a way to get Talia to sing a song, I think we'll hit the jackpot. So. And I know nothing about Dune except what I saw on CinemaSins for the first movie.
By the way, if you haven't seen the new Dune movie, it is a perfectly acceptable retelling of the story. The first like third of the book Dune, which is a brilliant novel, and I think everyone should read it. And just the immediate sequel, I think Children of Dune, are the absolute best. The rest of them are good too, but those two are just phenomenal. However, knowing the book really, really well, I was surprised at how bored I got in parts of the movie, just because it's so accurate to the book. Like, it's really close.
Oh, well, I tried to read the book. It didn't work out well.
It's a bit of a slog at first.
Yes, and I got it from the library, and I had about 10 other books with me from the library, and was like, I don't have time to like pull a Tolkien and get through the first freaking intro chapter to get to something interesting.
Yeah.
So I could not do it.
Yeah.
That's what killed me for Return to the King, actually, because I read The Hobbit, and The Hobbit is brilliantly paced. The Hobbit is by far his best book. The Lord of the Rings trilogy should have been one book, and it was spread over three, which was fine. He got to go into a lot more detail, but he didn't do it effectively well, and so
You didn't want to know about every single leaf on every single tree in the forest?
not all of them, like every other. But literally the first half of Return to the King is, and Sam and Frodo were walking, and then they were walking, but then they decided to walk some more before they went walking. And it's the most boring thing ever. And there's a lot of character development in there, but there's so much boring shit. And they did it so much better in the movies where they would do walking, cut away. And you got to see both stories that are happening simultaneously instead of, now we're going to go over here and tell you about all the really awesome shit Aragorn is doing.
Also, how dare he name his two villains so similarly?
Yeah, that was a dick move. Like Sauron and Saruman's is just horrible.
Reading this at the age of 10 or 11 and not sure like which one has died now and which one has showed up in this place. Yeah.
Well, I also found out Christopher Lee, who played Saruman in the movie, was friends with J.R.R. Tolkien. Like actual, like they were buddies and they used to talk. And so on set, he would literally correct people's pronunciations when he goes, no, in amazing, we lost such a wonderful actor when we lost him, but he had this amazing bass voice. And we go, no, it's Saruman. It's Sauron. Not Sauron, Sauron. Like he was just the most brilliant actor. Oh, I loved him.
Okay,
And he sang
that
too.
man, like you just need to he in his he was in his 80s when he had the death metal album come out, but also he was like a freaking assassin secret agent person, so he in that film as well. No, this is what it sounds like when someone is stabbed.
Yep. Yep.
It's my favorite. He was, the most interesting man in the world from Dos Equis. That was someone attempting to pretend to be Christopher Lee. He was just, he was such an amazing person. So anyway, to set the stage, Dune. The very mention of the name can cause panic, can cause elation, sorrow. The sole planet in the universe where the spice melange, necessary for space travel, can be harvested. Wars have been fought, lives have been ruined, entire societies blinked out of existence over control of the spice. Recently, House Harkonnen has fallen out of favor with the Padishah Emperor. As punishment, he took away their mining rights on Dune and transferred them to the noble House Atreides. This was done purposefully. Not only does it hurt House Harkonnen's standing amongst the other noble houses, not only does it hurt them financially by taking away the primary source of income for the entirety of the house, but it also hurts them personally, as the Baron of House Harkonnen is a sworn enemy of Duke Leto of the Atreides. So the Padishah Emperor has literally given House Harkonnen's most valuable asset to their sworn enemies. And House Harkonnen is known for a lot of things, but none of them are for being merciful. Control of the planet Arrakis, known as Dune, is a double-edged sword. While yes, you have the most valuable economic asset in the universe, you also have the largest target painted on your house currently possible. To get control of Dune can take a minor house and turn them into a ruling house. To lose control of Dune can take the most powerful noble house and make them destitute. That is where we set our story. The three of you have been tasked by your Duke to investigate reports of smugglers in the Arrakeen Desert. Arrakeen is the capital city of the planet Dune, and it is protected by a vast shield wall. Now, something interesting about Dune itself that everyone is aware of is the most dangerous thing in the desert, to most off-worlders' knowledge, are the massive sandworms. They can be large enough to swallow entire carry-alls full of dozens of people in a single bite. They travel beneath the sands, but they are attracted to vibrations. One of the most common defense implements in the entire Imperium is the shield. The shield changed combat throughout the world. The shield works in a very interesting way. Any fast-moving projectiles are stopped instantly by a shield. So, projectile weaponry in general is mostly useless against a shield. However, a very particular projectile weapon, the lasgun, which shoots a concentrated laser, if that interacts with a shield, it will cause a nuclear explosion. And there's a 50-50 chance that the nuclear explosion will happen either where the impact of the shield happens or at the lasgun itself. And there's no way to predict which place it will happen. Using a lasgun and causing a nuclear explosion by having it interact with a shield is illegal, and doing it if you survive or any remnants of your house survives can cause your entire house to be arrested and sentenced to death. It is one of the worst things you can do. So a new form of combat was created. The slow blade makes the kill. Bladed weapons are very common in the Dune universe, and a very particular fighting style was created where if you slash quickly, the shield will deflect your blade. But if you slow your blade right before the killing blow, it'll pass harmlessly through the shield and into the flesh of your enemy. Sword masters have become essential members of house staff. The Imperial Sardaukar troopers each carry a blade with no sheath, because once the blade is drawn, it is not sheathed until everything around them is dead. So, some of you, the other unique thing about shields is they work, they create vibrations which always, always, always attract sandworms. So while the shield wall and Arcane itself is on rocks and solid ground, and therefore is relatively safe from the worms outside the shield wall, there is no protection. And using a shield outside in the open desert is tantamount to a death sentence. So that being said, let's talk about your characters. One of the aspects of the Dune adventures in the Imperium system is there are 5 different drives that might motivate your character to do things. And at the beginning of every adventure, we want to kind of define what your primary drive for... Yeah, shut up, computer. What your primary drive is for your character for this. The 5 drives themselves are duty, faith, justice, power, and truth. As a reminder for you guys, you have been sent out into the desert to find spice smugglers and deal with them. They haven't really been explicit as to how to deal with them, but knowing from the basic philosophy of Duke Leto is allies come in a number of different forms. So Duke Leto himself tends to enjoy diplomatic relations when it is possible. However, he also understands that his power cannot be compromised on the planet. So the smugglers have got to come in line in some way, shape, or form. That being said, let's start with Talia. What is going to be your primary drive for this adventure?
Talia's primary drive is power. According to the statement, power comes at a knife's edge.
Very much so. So, Corbin, what is Corbin's primary drive for this adventure?
Corbin's primary drive also is power.
You've made a friend.
My statement is you can only rely on yourself. So I am looking for power for myself, and if that means integrating in with the Atreides to help get some of that power, I'm all for that. But also, if I can get some revenge on the Harkonnens, I'm all about that too.
Interestingly, my faith is I can always rely on myself.
All right. And then Anna, what is your primary drive for this?
My primary drive is duty, which can be owed to many places.
Interesting. All right. So, the first decision you guys have to make in this game is all 3 of you are in a vehicle that is remarkably common on Arrakis called an ornithopter. If you're unaware, an ornithopter is a vehicle that propels itself by flapping wings, effectively, instead of like a plane where it's propelled through fixed wings via lift and forward momentum. So you guys are literally in a kind of bird-like or bug-like vehicle, and I need to know who is driving. any one of you can fly the ornithopter. You all are familiar enough with flying an ornithopter, especially for Atreides, because it's such a common mode of transportation, is kind of similar to being able to drive a car. Obviously, there are some people that are better or worse at it, but flying an ornithopter is not a remarkably difficult task. So all of you would have the ability to do that.
Right. I think Corbin would probably volunteer, having known, given my past, I know certain areas where we may be able to find some smugglers. I know some of the places where they may be hanging out or looking for caravans, things like that.
Holly would absolutely not say it this way, but I was thinking about Legally Blonde today, so I want to say, oh my god, same.
Yeah, I'm a bit wrong.
All right. So, none of you were remarkably familiar with each other before you were all chosen for this task. And you're not 100% certain why you specific three were chosen. But the sword master of the house, Duncan Idaho, called you all together and told you that there are reports that there are smugglers in this part of the desert. They need to be dealt with, and you three have the exact skills that we feel will be necessary to complete this. So, the ornithopter itself is tight. You guys are basically traveling around in a four-door coupe. But the area that you've been told to find these smugglers in is relatively close to Arakeen. So, the sun glares off the ornithopter windshield as you crest over the immense stone wall that surrounds the city of Arakeen. Before you stretches an ocean of sand, a vast desert that covers the entire planet of Arrakis. While the cockpit is air-conditioned, you can see the shimmering of heat haze rising from the waves of dunes ahead of you, stretching beyond the horizon. You have set off today to investigate reports that a group of spice smugglers might be operating in an area your house has a contract to harvest spice. It is your job to find their base and, if possible, put a stop to their activities. However, spice smugglers can often have useful contacts, and occasionally the loss of a little spice can be worth a new ally. So, you guys have been given the location of the suspected smuggler base, but it's camouflaged and difficult to spot. And there's always the chance that your informants might be misinformed as well, and this is a wild goose chase. So we're going to start by Corbin. I'm going to have you make a move test to see how well you are piloting the ornithopter. This is a difficulty 0 test. So this is just going to kind of give us an idea of how things are going.
Okay. Okay. I will. So I just roll one dice.
You
and
roll,
I need...
all rolls start with 2 dice.
Okay. Perfect.
So it'll be 2d20, and then I'd like you to tell me which drive you're going to use for this, and kind of justify why you believe this is the correct drive for him to use for this test.
I'm going to say probably duty.
Okay.
So just because I'm something this points out, I'm basically the new guy in House Atreides. I just showed up a couple months ago. I haven't really had a chance to prove myself yet. So this is kind of that first opportunity for me to show kind of my loyalty and my duty to my Duke. So I'm going to be doing this as part of my duty.
Okay. Now, I won't be doing this for later rolls, but just to give you guys a feel for the system, literally every single drive can be usable for every single roll. So to give you an example, that's a perfect example of a duty statement for this. For a faith statement, you could go, I just have a strong feeling that something's going to happen here and that I need to be in control when it does. That would be a faith statement. For a justice statement, it could be, well, these smugglers need to be caught, and I believe I am the best person to pilot us in a way that we can get to them. A power statement, I'm in the seat of power. I control where these go. I control where we look, and I also control where we don't look. Truth. Being the person in the front can allow me to expose everyone in the ornithopter to the entirety of the picture. I can take us as high as we need to see everything, and I can take us as close as we need to see every fine detail to make sure nothing is disguised. So don't feel bad about using your strongest trait. The reason that is your strongest trait is because that is your primary motivator in most things that you do. And if you really do either feel strongly that your character would use another one, or you just think it would make a better story if you were to just maybe have a crisis of faith at one point and use your faith instead of your power for something, go for it. There is technically no wrong answer when you're choosing your drive. There will, for me personally, there will very rarely be times when I will tell you what drive to use unless I feel the explanation that you gave fits better in a different drive. So, that being said, go ahead and make your rolls. To explain to the people at home how the rolls go, everything is done with d20s. You add your drive number plus your skill number to together to figure out the number you need to roll under. That's your target number. And if you roll a 1, that counts as 2 successes. Otherwise, every roll that is under equal to or under the number counts as a success. And the difficulty class, which is what the GM decides, will be a number of successes, anywhere from 0 to 5. Though any difficulty 0 things are things that are inevitable. They're going to happen. They're just designed like this test is designed to give us an idea of how things are going, and they allow the group to build up some momentum, which we'll talk about when it comes into effect. So, what'd you get, Corbin?
I was originally very disappointed, and then I remembered I'm trying to roll low. I got a 5 and a 9.
5 and a 9. Good. That's 2 successes. Because this is a difficulty 0 maneuver, that gives the group 2 points of momentum. With 2 successes, you're feeling pretty comfortable in the driver's seat. For Anna and to Talia, Talia, because you have been with the House Atreides for so long and have such a close connection with them, you've probably done a lot of travel in ornithopters. And so you're relatively familiar with the kind of minor bumps and things of flying in a non-fixed wing aircraft. And you would notice that this is a particularly smooth ride. Obviously, Corbin is a little bit more skilled at piloting than just your average pilot. Whether or not that impresses you, annoys you, whatever, is entirely up to you. But that would be information you are familiar with. Anna, on the other hand, being a Bene Gesserit, you spent the majority of your life on the Bene Gesserit homeworld training. You're relatively new to travel, and most of your travel has been on space liners and the like, traveling in deep space. Dealing with ornithopters, and that is still a relatively new thing for you. So this still is a relatively smooth flight, but compared to, a space liner, it's still much bumpier than your regular fights. However you would like to deal with that is entirely up to you. So while you all are flying, I'd actually like both Anna and Talia to make me discipline tests to see if you can spot spot the smuggler base. I guess I'll explain to the audience now how momentum works. Momentum, before you make your rolls, if you want to add additional d20s to your rolls, you can spend momentum to do that. For every point of momentum you spend, you get an additional d20, which can increase your chance to not only get successes, but again, every success over the difficulty class is going to add more momentum that you can use later on. The other thing you can use momentum for is if you spend 2 momentum, you can reduce the difficulty class by 1. So you need 1 less success to win. This is a difficulty 2 test. So both of you get to attempt the rolls as you're all kind of looking. And just let me know if you want to spend any momentum. Normally we would have kind of chips on the table that would allow us to do that. Corbin has been kind enough to keep track of our momentum and another thing called threat, which are things that I can use effectively. Threat is DM or GM momentum. So.
I'm wondering if maybe I can use one of my assets. I have a contact about the business suite, so I'm wondering if maybe my contact may ask for me about where the base might be.
Yeah, I'll say you can use that as an asset. You can use initial d20 on your roll. For the audience, assets are anything from contacts to physical items. They're just things that you can use. And the simplest way to use them is you can activate an asset during a roll to give yourself an additional d20. There's a lot of other ways to use assets and traits to get things, but that's a really simple way to do it. So, and just let me know which drive you're using. I won't always have you guys tell me the drive that you're using, but for the first few rolls, I figure it's not a bad idea to get us used to the idea of drive.
I'm using power for my drive because growing up on the streets, I've had to learn that, yes, life comes at a knife's edge, and being observant is a really important part of surviving at that knife's edge. So okay. I'm going to use that observation skills that I've learned growing up in order to survive, to look around.
Okay.
Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. Hi, I did it. Now I'm part 2.
Look around, look around. You guys really are on the greatest city in the world.
I would also like to say, for someone who's not super duper familiar with Dune, listening to your introduction, I went, oh, it's Tremors in space.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Tremors was a parody of Dune and a few other things. So
teach you to break into the wrong man's rec room.
When it's the 1800s, that's the best Tremors. Don't ask me.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
I would like to say that my father owns all the Tremors movies. We have marathoned them many a time.
Okay.
So I got a 2 and a 4.
All right, so that's 2 successes there. You succeed on your task. Anna?
I am using 30 because in my current post, I am posing as an amazing racist
So what do you got for rolls?
So it was a 112 and 115 and a 116.
Okay, and what was your target number?
Discipline you said?
Yeah. So this is a discipline task.
That would be 2 success and 1 failure.
Okay.
So it was a 14.
All right. So going forward, the only thing you guys need to tell me is how many successes you get. Unless you get a critical success, definitely let me know about that. But the only thing we really care about are going to be the number of successes, just to make things flow a little bit faster. The more numbers we throw at people, the more boring it gets. So, both of you aren't doing too bad. So, over the next hour or so, you guys are flying over the desert. Corbin's flying pretty well. And currently you guys are looking. What kind of conversation, if any, is happening in there? Again, you guys are going to be... it took you a couple hours to get to where you need to start looking, and you've been looking roughly for around an hour now. Have you guys spoken to each other at all? Do you want to say things to each other? It's entirely up to you.
Well, given the fact that I used that accent, I would be feeding Corbin information about what my contact told me I really could be.
Okay. Now, I would like to point out for Anna, as she's just said, to all of your understanding, she presents herself as a handmaiden.
Yeah.
So the swordmaster of the house has told you to take a personal servant along with you, and the personal servant also happens to be telling you exactly where to go.
And Corbin would be like taking, oh, that's interesting that they would point to that particular place because I've actually been there before. Huh, I didn't know they knew about that. That's interesting.
Okay.
And trying to point out a couple of places.
Talia is highly suspicious of the handmaiden. And is just keeping her dagger close.
Okay. Question for you, Anna. Again, the Bene Gesserit, super, super well known throughout the galaxy. They are sometimes in positions where they hide their Bene Gesserit to training, and sometimes they are just blatant about it. Does Anna, do you present as just a handmaiden, or do you present as a Bene Gesserit handmaiden? Because there are a lot of reasons to have a Bene Gesserit handmaiden.
I present as a handmaiden.
Okay.
So when I finished it information, I posted it on, I overheard rumors. I overheard so-and-so say stuff like that.
Okay. So.
I must say I have quite a bit of respect for House Atreides and their choices of handmaidens and the skills they possess. Very observant.
I mean, when you allow people to make you hear things.
Very interesting.
So, as you all are... Come on, there we go. One other thing I would mention, for everything other than combat tests, you do have the option to assist someone else in making a test. and then you would basically count as an asset for them, basically giving them another d20 to roll. So that is always an option as well, as long as you could explain how you would assist them. Like if Anna wanted to help Corbin fly, she would need to describe how she was being an asset to him flying, instead of just a backseat driver. So, oh, you're taking that route? You know, it's always packed this time of day. You really should go. So, are you familiar with what a blinker is? Are you aware?
That's a
of
parking space. Oh, there's one.
Yeah, 300 feet to the right.
Yeah, that you probably my favorite one ever, because I had this happen with my mother when she used to drive with me. Favorite thing ever was she would just randomly do that, and I'd be like, "What?" And so one time when I was driving with her, just randomly, I went, "She's what? I said, "It's really annoying when that happens, isn't it?" My mother almost swore at me, and my mother doesn't swear.
I often steal shotgun from my mother to help her not be looking out the window and not have those moments.
Anyway, so you guys have been flying for a little bit, and between Anna and Tatalia, you guys notice a small outcropping of rocks in the middle of the desert. And looking close enough, you can actually see some remarkably well hidden tents that are set up just on the other side of the outcropping. You spot what looks like a group of well-hidden tents in the desert near a small outcropping of rocks close to a large set of caves. The question you guys have right now is, how do you want to approach? You can land the ornithopter right next to the tents themselves, though it is an ornithopter in the desert. If you land it near the tents, they're definitely going to know you're there. They're not quiet. You also have the option of going around to the outcropping and landing on the other side of the outcropping and approaching stealthily. What are you guys thinking?
Well, I'm thinking we shouldn't sneak up on them. I think we should make our presence known. We should deal with them openly, rather than, trying to sneak up on them and put them on edge. What are your thoughts?
Man, we always see we were criminals. I mean, they could be hostile.
Criminal is such a harsh word for what these people do. I mean, yes, they work outside the system, but they're not violent criminals usually. They're more how do I want to say this? They're they're decent folk usually.
Sounds
Maybe.
like you may know some of them.
Yeah.
I may have, in my past, done a tad bit of off-book spice trading, as it were. I don't know that we're supposed to eliminate the smugglers as much as eliminate the practice. I think if we talk with them, get some information, I think it might be possible to get a tax from them. Have them pay a fee. Bring it into registered tax that'll help the Duke with some much-needed funds. Have you seen the condition of the uh, spice haulers? And the Harkonnens did not leave a lot of good equipment behind. A lot of it's in disrepair. They could use money and, the skills of these people. I think if we go in there talking, we can come to a good understanding.
It never hurts to have more friends.
Definitely.
All right. So, you start to bring the ornithopter in.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like Corbin to go ahead and make me a move roll to see
Okay.
just how delicately they can land their ornithopter, which creates significant amounts of vibrations.
Now, okay. Now I'm looking. One of my talents is bold movement,
Okay.
where when I attempt a test and I can buy an additional D20 by generating threat,
Mm-hmm.
that would let me re-roll a single die in my pool. Can I make this a bold move?
If you'd like to, you would need to generate threat instead of using momentum to do it.
Okay.
And you
and
can,
right now,
you can basically for every one threat point you would generate in this way, in the same way burning a momentum, you can gain an additional die for each one. I will say this particular, I'm not going to tell you what the difficulty class is for this. I'm going to say attempting to do this carefully is a relatively difficult thing to do.
right.
And that's all the information I'll give you on it. So
Okay. And you have 6th threat at the moment.
I currently have 6 threat. Yes, I did do.
So you are
I'm not. There is no maximum amount of threat that I can have.
Oh,
There's only a
interesting.
maximum amount of momentum.
Well, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and buy 2 die.
Okay. So that is 8 threat that I now have.
Because I know how important vibration is near sand.
Being a smuggler, that would be one of the things you most definitely would no.
Right, and I want to make sure I'm. I want to make sure that the people that we're landing near know that I'm not a. That this is a serious. This is an amateurish.
Okay.
Right. I want to put my best foot forward here. Mm-hmm. Okay then.
Remember, because of your trait, if you need to reroll something, you can re-roll one of those.
Right, but just one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I need to get under a 6 because of my move score.
You need to. What would be your move plus your every roll? Every target number is always a drive plus your skill. So yeah, whatever drive you decided you're going to use for this.
Okay.
It's you a drive. A drive is your motivator. Your drive influences literally every decision that you make. So you will always add a drive to a skill.
And it has to be under, not tied.
I've been ruling it as tied or under, just because that's what I'm used to.
Then 4 successes.
4 successes. 4 successes. Very, very nice. Yeah. You get no idea if you succeeded or not, but you feel that you did as best as you can. So you guys feel the ornithopter getting lower and lower, and finally gets on the sand. I will say, because of your smuggler background, why don't you roll me a... what are the skills again?
Battle, communicate, discipline, move, and understand.
Why don't you roll me a difficulty 0 understand?
Okay.
Or, no, this will be a difficulty 2. And just because I just got some threat, we'll make it a difficulty 3 understand maneuver. to see how much you remember about traveling on the sand itself.
Now, I have a focus in smuggling.
Okay.
Is
I'll say, because this is an essential part of smuggling, because it's something that happens on the sand, I will say this focus applies. So any successes count as critical successes, which are double these successes.
okay?
So it's a difficulty 2 understand, or what was it? Was it understanding is the skill?
Understanding was the skill, and I think you said this was a difficulty 3.
Difficulty 3, yes, because I added some threat to it. So difficulty 3.
Okay, so... Alright.
Did you want to buy any additional d20s using momentum or threat? Again, your momentum.
We're so
pool,
flush with threat right now.
Your momentum pool technically has 3, and one thing I forgot to mention: when we switch scenes, you lose 1 point of momentum. So.
Well then, I will use 1 point of momentum.
Okay.
So that will be 3 die. And... So that's 6 successes.
6 successes. Okay. So for a difficulty 3 task, that means you earn 3 momentum. Okay. So now the group has 5 momentum, and you definitely succeed. One of the things you learned, and this is something that you're not 100% certain who in the smuggling community first learned it, but the Fremen, who are the desert-dwelling natives of Arrakis, have learned how to travel across the sand without without attracting worms. On the basis of it is you travel without rhythm. Worms are attracted to rhythmic vibrations. So if you move in a very particular fashion, you can actually travel relatively safely on the desert. So you would be able to inform your allies of that. If anyone would like to attempt to move that way as you are approaching the camp, I just need a difficulty 2 move test.
I will accept it.
Okay.
And with my talent as a businessman, I want to be a real to first move test with what I look forward my body.
Makes sense. It is kind of the Bene Gesserit thing.
Yeah.
I got 2 successes as well.
2 successes, cool.
And I'm kind of showing them the offbeat step, drag.
Mm-hmm. And again, if anyone wants to, you can use your momentum to buy more dice, or reduce the difficulty class for yourself. If you spend 2 momentum, you can reduce the difficulty class.
I will buy one. Yeah, one.
Okay. You're going to make your roll. Talia, are you going to attempt to move without rhythm?
Focus is stealth. So
I would say this is a stealthy style thing. So yeah, I'll let you use your focus on that.
I would also say that I'm going to make it about truth, because I make my own truth just like I make my own rhythm.
Okay. I got rhythm.
So, I don't know if we talked about this. What does the added difficulty do for stuff?
Added difficulty, it just increases the difficulty class. It would not be something you would do for your own checks using momentum. It would be something you would do for a check one of my NPCs would make. And generally, if you are going to add a difficulty using momentum, you need to describe how what your character is doing is making it more difficult for someone else in some way, shape, or form. So it does need to be some sort of narrative reason for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if you're clever enough, generally that's not too difficult to do.
Roll 20 is currently treating me very well, 2 successes.
All right. And then Corbin, did you got your successes too?
Yep,
And
2
then,
successes.
Anna, what'd you get for your?
I am using faith because I'm using my benefit for 3 reasons. And I only got 1 success.
All right. So, now you did mention you can re-roll things because you're Benny. Did you use that ability or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So, as you guys are going, Corbin and Talia, you seem to be, or Corbin, you kind of fall into the movement pretty easily. You're used to doing it, and so you're doing it pretty well. And you notice that Talia picks it up really fast. You're kind of impressed. Anna, however, just doesn't seem to be getting it quite right, and you can see her kind of stumbling and doing things, and you kind of just on instinct start glancing around for worm sign. You don't see any, but again, worm sign can happen rather suddenly. As you all approach, you do see people coming out of the tent, and Corbin, the first thing you would know, and I guess all of you would notice this with your different backgrounds, is not only are they armed, they are obviously armed. They're wearing their weapons in an incredibly obvious way while they're not pointing them at you. It's incredibly obvious to all of you that they want you to know that they are armed and ready to use them. So one of the smugglers kind of comes forward. What do you want?
We have come on behalf of the great Duke Leto to discuss business.
We have no business with Duke Leto.
Well, you have business with Spice. And unfortunately, that is Duke Leto's business now.
We have been operating here much longer than your fair Duke has had control of this planet.
Yes. Under the Harkonnens, who have made business difficult for everyone. The Duke...
Are you saying that your Duke is so dishonorable that he will not... I can't think of the word right now. He will not honor mining contracts that were legally acquired before his tenure? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No. Of course not. But if you have legal contracts, then why are you hiding out here in the deserts?
Are you calling me a liar?
No. I believe we may have gotten off on the wrong foot.
Obviously, you show up at my camp flying a vibration machine. You come walking forward with... I don't know who the hell these people are. You could be attracting worms to our very location, disrupting my entire process here, just so you could tell me that some person that has never met me, doesn't know me, now says that he owns the work that my men are performing, and I'm somehow supposed to be thankful that you came over here?
I will start looking around. I don't see a harvester nearby.
We don't use harvesters. They attract worms.
Well, yes. That's why you have carryalls handy. But if you're not harvesting the spice...
We have other methods for harvesting spice.
Well, the Duke would be very interested in finding and learning more about these methods, and perhaps rewarding you for it.
How interested are we talking?
Very interested.
Go ahead and make me an understanding check. Anyone that wants to can do it, but I'll only let one of you, or no, I'll let any of you guys want to, but I'll only use the top number of successes. This is a difficulty 0 task.
Okay. I will say one success.
One success. Just lying through his ass about this being illegal.
Oh yeah, no, I totally get that.
And it'd be blatantly obvious to all of you that there's no contract. But that being said,
Yeah, I'm sure like on the flight over, I probably like as I was showing them the things, I probably showed them, oh, okay, there's a harvester. You can see there's a carryall, at least one carryall, because every harvester attracts spice, but it's the way you have to do it. And so yeah, this new method is just BS. But
there are, again, from your spunking days, there are ways to harvest without a harvester. You get harvesters are the only, I guess, economically viable way for a large group of people to harvest. But even small amounts of spice are still extremely valuable.
Right.
So.
I'm guessing from Corbin's experience, unless you're a Fremen, you're using a harvester. Fremen have weird things that you don't ask questions about.
You can't because spice you can spot spice from the sky, and you can literally just pick it up. The thing with harvesters is they can refine and get all the sand and all that stuff out and purify it right there, or not purify it. You need a refiner for that. They can get all the sand and stuff out of it right there, and you get much better harvest. But you can go out and harvest by hand if you want.
Right.
So it's just economically, it's not the greatest idea. Anyway, so back to it. So how grateful do you think he might be?
I think the Duke would be very grateful. He is not interested in the status quo that the Harkonnens maintained here. The Harkonnens were in business for themselves, quite frankly, and to the detriment of many others. Duke Leto is more open to other arrangements.
The only thing more dangerous than a cunning enemy is a cunning ally. How do we know he won't change his mind as soon as we develop some sort of relationship? Simply by speaking with you, you endanger my man.
There's no reason to jump to danger or dangerous conclusions right now.
You fly ornithopters, you walk in rhythm. Just that alone is dangerous.
I must apologize for my associate here. She is but a humble handmaiden.
She's a humble handmaiden. I'm a Fremen.
Oh, I did not realize you don't have the blue eyes I've come to associate with the Fremen, but
yeah.
May we go inside and talk? It's rather toasty out here.
Not quite used to the heat, are ya?
Unfortunately, I have been off planet for some time. I traveled to Caladan to meet with the Duke's people.
And your eyes are really blue.
Well, I may have grown up here on Arrakis. But I sought out the Atreides to get a sense of them, a feel of them. And they are a good people, I believe. Trustworthy. I talked to many of their people to hear stories of the type of man Duke Leto is. He seems to be a man of his word.
My dealings with men of their word is they're wonderful until that word becomes difficult.
Hmm.
And then that word magically changes definitions, disappears.
That's unfortunate. You must not have had much dealings with good people.
Yeah, surprising.
Um,
You've been up front. I guess we can have an accord. However, it makes my men nervous to have armed people in our tents. We'd feel a lot better if all of you all took your weapons off.
well, I mean, it's just a simple personal protection.
Yes, but personal protection can turn into personal attack very quickly. Again, if we're all friends here, there's no reason you need it. My men will protect you from the desert itself.
But would your men, obviously, your men feel uncomfortable with us being armed? We would feel similarly uncomfortable.
Absolutely, that makes perfect sense. However, we're not in your home, you're in ours. So there's a little bit of respect.
So while this conversation is going on, I've been scanning the faces of the people
Okay.
because I both have a contact on Arrakis who leads a gang of criminal thugs and a friend within the Iraqi underworld. So I'm just wondering, do I recognize anyone?
You know what? For this, I'm gonna say you don't recognize the leader, but and you don't recognize any of the faces, but the rest of the people have been talking, and you do recognize there's a younger one, probably barely like 19, and you know his voice very very well. One of your contacts you've never actually seen. You have only communicated through written notes and through audio communications, and you know beyond a shadow of a doubt. His name is Nemec, and you guys aren't particularly close, but you have a good working relationship. He's given you information that has been helpful. You have given him information that has been helpful.
Do I feel like it would be putting him in a vulnerable state if I were to reveal that?
Revealing any sort of connection will always put someone in a vulnerable state. As far as do you think it will make this situation any better or worse, to be honest, you're not 100% sure. It might not. It is a gamble.
And when we gamble, we lose. Trust yourself.
I will say, with your knowledge of the criminal underworld, you can't guarantee that no one will be put in a vulnerable position. But I'll say if you want to do a difficulty to communication or communicate test, you could ensure that you would not be the one that was put in a bad position.
I'm just staring at my focus for communicate is intimidation. I feel like maybe don't use that right now.
It's completely, and it would to be blunt, for the test you would be making, it would make perfect sense that it would shield you from being put in a bad position and ensure that they are.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah. Thank you, random snake caw from the Jungle Book. That's what that sounds like.
Trust in me.
I don't.
My entire
You've
song
been my GM many times. I don't.
uses diminished chords
But
and
it's the same snake
tritones.
voice from Robin Hood.
It's also Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, but I think it's more fun that they were like, he's kind of a snake. Let's just do that.
What is his name? Is it Sterling? He was brilliant. I was sad when he passed away.
I'm gonna hold off
Okay.
because I don't trust in the snakes. I trust in myself.
Gotcha. So as you're sitting here kind of contemplating whether or not you should use this knowledge, suddenly an explosion happens behind you. Your ornithopter.
I immediately reach for my knife.
Okay.
And do I.
As you guys look up, you see a really large, much larger than your ornithopter, coming in that is very heavily armed. It has just fired a rocket that has completely destroyed your ornithopter. And it is landing. The smugglers go, "What did you do?"
They're not with us.
Obviously, as they land roughly, you see soldiers decked out in Harkonnen colors coming out.
I will pull out my Mala pistol and just be like, we need to get to cover now.
Very quickly, you guys realize you are massively outnumbered. Give me a second, I'll tell you exactly how outnumbered you are.
I have a good feeling about this.
So they pour out, and you see close to. Why is it not telling me? I thought there were. Oh, there's about a dozen soldiers that come out, fully armed with Mala rifles, which are Mala weapons are effectively spring-loaded projectile weapons. They tend to be the very, very common weapons in general. And they're all pointing at them. The head of the group comes out. "Well, seems we found some prey while hunting."
I'm sorry, aren't you not supposed to be here anymore?
I don't care what that bastard of an emperor says. This is Harkonnen land. It's been Harkonnen land for decades. And it'll be Harkonnen land again very soon. Your Duke's days here are numbered.
All days are numbered. That's how calendars work. But I don't suppose Harkonnen trash like you would understand a thing like that.
Take a point of determination. That was brilliant.
Thank you.
Which calendar do they use in Dune?
That's a fine question.
I assume not Gregorian.
No, they have an intergalactic calendar that actually starts after the Butler and Jihad. So that is when it ended and all thinking machines were wiped out. That is year 0, and we're like year 10,000 or something like that. So it's been a while.
Yep.
another bit of information for you. Thinking machines, which is any sort of artificial intelligence at all, even like calculators in general. Any computer that can calculate things for itself is illegal because they made thinking machines at one point, and the thinking machines tried to kill everybody. So now the role of computers and things like that are taken up by humans called mentats, which are effectively human computers. And they drink a special drink that's red in color that actually stains their lips red. It's the mark of a mentap will be that they have these deep red lips all the time. And they're literally human computers.
That is what computer originally came from. It was for humans, so,
Yep.
So
return to form.
anyway, so going back to this, you're smart, aren't you? Well, I'm just here to get rid of some trash.
So you're going to see yourself out then. That's fine.
Talia is going to inch a little bit away from Corbin.
I'm just
As all the guns train on him.
Yeah.
You're not with him? Like, he's his own.
Yeah.
Like, this
I'm
is the
just
first time
hoping-
we met.
Suddenly, I'm with the smugglers.
Yeah, I'm a smuggler. This is I was infiltrating them.
Yeah, this is my good buddy. We have lunch all the time. Goes over to Nemec.
Yeah, I am trying to create
Listen.
a draw attention.
Listen, pig. We don't care about you. We care about them because they are behind in taxes.
To inch away from the smugglers.
Just never mind.
Yeah.
Nemeth? Who's Nemeth? I don't know Nemeth. I've been told there's been a change of the guard recently, and we no longer owe you taxes. I don't give a flying fuck about that. And now you're conspiring with the people that illegally overthrew our government. Do you really want to make an enemy of the Harkonnen?
Petition for the next 30 minutes to be Jody having a conversation with himself.
No. I'm waiting for you all to interrupt.
I'm sorry. I think you have greatly misunderstood the situation. Your Duke, sorry, you don't have a Duke. Your Baron, who, by the way, oink oink, is not in charge of this. The Emperor Padishah, or the Padishah Emperor, has deemed fit to make Duke Leto responsible for this land and its fiefdoms and its incomes. You have attacked the Duke's people by blowing up our rocket ship. You have no right to be here. You need to leave now. Actually, you should just walk away.
You don't think
Talia
it's
is
weird?
currently sizing up how many she can kill.
Okay. You don't think it's weird? The Padishah Emperor gives Duke Leto, House Atreides, who's been losing favor with the Emperor over and over again, he suddenly gives him the most valuable asset in the galaxy.
Look, I am not a great political mastermind.
Well, then let me
clearly
explain
you are.
it to you. Your Duke is here to die. He's been sent here to be killed so that the Harkonnens can take out a rival and take back what is rightfully theirs. If you were smart, you would surrender and join us. Talia, as you kind of consider these as a situation, there's 12 of them, there's 3 of you, and there are 8 smugglers. So while you believe if you could get close enough, you could probably take out a few of them on your own, you think taking out 12 of them would require the smugglers, especially since if the smugglers aren't with you, then that turns into 3 versus 12 into 3 versus 20.
So, you make a fine, compelling argument. Yeah, you know what? I think this might be a good idea. And I'll just start walking over to his side.
I'm picking out which 4 to kill. Corbin to
Corbin, go ahead and roll me a communicate check to lie through your fucking teeth. I'm gonna say because he is distrustful of you, this is easily a difficulty 4 task.
Okay. So,
because this
so
isn't combat, if either of you two want to try and assist him in some way, if you just tell me how you think you can assist him, that would give him an additional die.
So, I would also like to use subtle words.
Okay.
So when I attempt a communicate test, you can buy 1 or more dice by spending momentum. You make so I will spend 2 momentum.
Okay.
To do that. I can create a new trait for free upon the character that I've spoken to, which reflects your influence upon their thoughts or mood.
So, a trait in this sense can either be an asset for you, or with them, since you're giving a trait to them, it would be I can't remember what it's called, a hindrance to them. So you could give them a negative trait, which could lower the difficulty.
Okay.
Class.
So yeah, I want this guy to trust me.
I will help.
Okay. So before you do that, Anna, what exactly you're going to do that is going to make him inherently trust you? And remember, this is just because you are currently wearing the Duke's colors. It is built into him to distrust you. So knowing that, how exactly would you make him think that you are trustworthy?
I'm just gonna take off the Duke's colors. I'm just gonna take those down, throw them on the ground, stomp on a little bit, and just be like, you know what? Being in the, I haven't been employed that long with the Duke. Maybe you're right. Maybe I need to start picking the winning team.
Okay, I'll say that's a difficulty 3 task now.
Okay.
Anna, you wanted to try and help him in some way?
Yeah.
Now that you've seen what he did, how would you like to help?
I would have it somewhere on somewhere. I will remove the 2 colors, and I will say, I will identify myself as a better and say, I have been working as a handmaiden for many years. See about how I forever answer I can be if we were on your side.
Okay. I would say that would be a justification for your own test. I wouldn't say that helps Corbin in his. But we can definitely do that in a second here.
I would like to assist.
Okay, and how?
Potentially with both of them, after having seen them both remove their robes.
Anna's just sitting there naked. Like, she's just like, I'm Bene Gesserit. Check this out. I can make my 6-pack. I can make only one of them move. Check this. Woo. Anyway, sorry.
And Talia is going, how dare you betray the house, and try and really sell that they are turning.
Okay. I'll say it's an asset to both of you.
Okay.
So Corbin, go ahead. I think that means with an asset and the 2 that you bought, that means you're rolling 5.
Yep.
All right. Let's see what you got.
Okay. That's 5 successes.
5 successes. All right.
I could
So,
not tell if that was positive or negative.
I rolled a critical 1,
all right,
and
not bad.
yeah, yeah.
Who would have thought you'd been happy about a nat with a 1?
So
That
weird.
is why this is a great system, guys.
Just
So is the difficulty?
intersperse it with D&D.
Yeah.
And like
No,
every
dice
other
will
day.
never know.
Yeah.
So you do gain 2 momentum for the group. And
Huzzah.
you see a big grin split his face. He is really pleased to get someone to defect.
I
Anna,
would,
go ahead.
while I'm doing the like how dare you blah 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 stuff, I would like to gesture towards Nemet that this is all a show. Just like very subtly.
Okay. So the way that should have been done, and the reason I chose specifically was because it was going to be so hard and I roll so bad. But generally, if you're doing something like this, where technically you're dealing with someone else, it should be what's called a contested check, where what I will do is I will make a roll using in this particular thing. I'll be rolling an understand check for the person that you're trying to kind of influence, going, hey, and the number of successes that they get will be the difficulty that you have to roll, or the difficulty class for your check. So that's 2 successes, so that's a difficulty 2 task for you, Talia. We'll deal with that in a second, because Anna, I'm going to give you the same test as I did for him. It'll be a difficulty 3, because his trait still exists. For the rest of this is a scene. I don't think that's how traits are supposed to work, but it made sense to me. So go ahead and make your test. Feel free to spend any momentum or determination. Everyone has a single determination point that you start with. And if you do things like make the DM laugh, I will give you more determination points.
No, I have a 4 in the
That would apply. So any success you get is a critical success.
So then I will use my determination,
Okay.
and I will buy. How many momentum do we have?
4, I believe.
4. I will buy 2, I guess.
Okay.
So that would be
It'd be 4 dice if you buy.
4.
Yeah, because you have 2 that you're buying, and you always roll with 2,
And
unless you happen to have another asset that gives you another die.
so, and I will use my duty drive because my duty can be also manipulated. And I roll 4 successes.
All right, so you gain another.
All of them were
Oh, so that's 8 successes.
Yeah.
Because they're all crits. So that is 5 momentum. So effectively, you guys have 6 momentum because you've maxed your momentum. Yeah, they're again, Bene Gesserit are really well known, and the Harkonnens, you would be able to tell rather bluntly, because they're not trying to hide it. The Harkonnens are not considering you an asset as far as your intellectual qualities. The Bene Gesserit are known as, they get their power through breeding and the things like that. So they're thinking much more of your physical assets. But they seem rather pleased.
Meanwhile, Corbin's just like, she's a witch.
She's a witch, burner!
Damn it.
So he goes, boys, Seems like we're gonna have a nice night tonight. A
Same
very
voice as the orc
nice.
going, looks like meat's back on the menu.
Looks like meat's
Boys.
back on the menu, boys.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, little girl, I'm feeling rather forgiving today. If you want to lie down on the ground, we'll make it real quick. But there aren't going to be any. None of you are going home to Duke Leto today. Can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
There we go.
That
You
was
may.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you have like a sound gate or something that's just cutting, sometimes not getting you.
Yeah, I don't know. We're trying out new sound today, so
Okay.
we'll
Well-
figure stuff out.
I can hear you now. So go ahead and say it again.
Yeah, I turned it up a little bit, so we'll see if that works.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm about to do something real dumb.
Okay.
Being called little girl is not great. And so Talia is going to walk up slowly to him
Okay.
and go, think you'll be the one not returning home today. And then go to stab him with the knife.
Okay. I'm gonna say
very quick and then slow at the last second.
obviously. I'm gonna say
Oh,
to
wait.
get close enough to him. I will let you choose your skill for how you're going to do it. But you need to explain what skill you're going to use to get up to him, because everyone has guns pointed at you. So how are you going to make it so that they don't instantly try to kill you?
Yeah, so I have a focus of dirty fighting for battle. So I am using that to fight dirty to get close to him in a very sneaky way. I think at first I'll look like I'm kowtowing and getting ready to like go and lay right directly in front of him. And then
Okay.
at the last minute, like shoulders back, full confidence.
I'll allow it. Go ahead and make your roll. I'll say it's going to be a difficulty 3 to the task.
Okay. This is also like very much power. like
Oh yeah. I
there
have
is
no
nothing
problem
else.
believing that. Do you wanna use any of your billion momentum?
Yes, I would. I'd like to use too.
Okay. Corbin, you had something you wanted to say?
There are no shields in use right now, correct?
No.
Okay.
If any of you have a shield as an asset, you are able to use it. But you all would have been told before you left, if you turn a shield on in the desert, you are asking to die.
Yes.
Like you will instantly call a worm.
So
The worms themselves absolutely despise, like it is of everything, even thumpers, which are designed to attract worms, will not attract a worm as fast as a shield, and they go into a frenzy as well.
So if it meets it, is that a success or a failure?
I've been treating it as a success. I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to be, but that's how I'm treating it for this game, because that's what
Then
I'm
I
used to.
have 4 successes and 1 is a crit.
Well, you said you have a focus
Oh, yes.
in dirty fighting. So
Yes.
if your focus applies, any success counts as a crit.
Great. Then I have 8 successes total.
Okay. So this was actually a difficulty 27 task.
In which case, Talia is dead, and I'm gonna go eat my dinner.
For the most part, other than certain fights and other things like that, hit points are not really a thing in Dune. You have successes and failures. This is more than enough successes to not only finish this guy off, but I'll say you can get, especially with your dirty fighting, I'll say you can get one other person with that. claim your kill. How do you do this?
I am 100% going up very quickly, and then at the last minute, slow, making sure there's no shield, and then slice through the bottom of his chin and up through.
Okay.
Um,
What kind of, because knives is a very broad term.
I have a knife with a poison reservoir.
Okay. But specifically, how do you envision the knife? Do you consider it an actual knife? Do you consider it some sort of like a hidden blade on, you know, maybe on a bracelet or, you know, something like what specific, like you could make this however you want. I just want a description of what kind of knife are you using?
So I imagine that it is hidden, but at the hip.
Okay.
So it's not on a bracelet, but it is a butterfly knife. So
Okay.
that when I stab people in their stomachs and twist, it does all the damage.
All right. And by butterfly knife, you mean that kind of butterfly or?
Very specifically, the type of butterfly knife that is about stabbing and twisting.
Okay.
That type.
Okay. So not the like not a it's not a balaclava. What's it called? What's the name of? It's a knife that when it's closed, the blade is inside the handle, and you flip
You mean
it
switchblades?
open. No, not a switchblade. You actually
But-
Yeah.
Is that a
It's
butterfly
not
knife?
that.
yeah. So it's not that. It's a blade that's specifically designed to open when you pierce them with it.
Yeah, well, so it's designed in such a way that when you pierce them and then twist, it's going to like it's kind of like it's got snake fangs with
Oh,
it.
okay.
because
I
it'll
know
then
exactly what you're
pull
talking
things
about.
out. Yeah.
So you watch her, Corbin and Anna. You watch her coming forward very meekly with her head bowed, and she, you can see her start to prostrate herself in front of the person. And as soon as she goes down to one knee, you watch her hand move down towards her hip, looking like she's going to brace herself against the ground to lie down. And then, Anna, you would notice this first just because of your training. You watch as the muscles in her leg tense, and then everything in her body tenses, and she immediately stands up. And from where you guys are standing, she's blocked by the guard itself, but she stands up very, very quickly, and you watch the guard stand up very straight. His posture becomes perfect, and then his posture becomes nothing as he drops. And as he drops, you watch as he drops, so does Talia, and no one can see her for a brief moment as she shifts over and gets another person in the femoral artery and pulls it out, and you watch him just start bleeding out on the sand, and everything erupts at that point. I would like you all to roll initiative, which is just a d20 roll. Don't worry about adding anything to it. It's just to kind of see where people are.
I'm very happy that Talia also knows how to locate a femoral artery.
It's a very useful thing to know. All right, so Talia, what you got for me?
15.
Not bad. Anna.
Oh, 3.
3. Cool. Corbin.
5.
5. Okay. So
When
Talia.
you take off the robes, you just
Yeah.
We're just like, no, not us. It was an act.
Talia, you are so fast that you are immediately battle ready as soon as a few of the ones that are further away from you are training their rifles on you. The rest are dropping their Mala rifles and bringing out basically short swords to fight with you, because by the time they train their gun on you, they will probably be dead with how close you already are. So you have about 4 of these guys with short swords getting ready to just maul you right now. But you act before them. So what would you like to do?
I would like to.
So, really quickly, before we do that, this being a combat encounter, combat tests kind of work very similarly to other tests. They're all going to be contested tests. In general, they're all going to use your battle skill. The drive is up to you as far as what you're doing, but they're almost all going to use your battle skill. And if you have a weapon, that counts as an asset in a battle check. So you would roll an additional die if you have a knife or a gun or something like that. And in general, distance-wise, they just use immediate, short, long-range kind of the things, very similar to the Cypher systems. So everyone is within immediate range. So on your turn, you can move an immediate distance and take an action as part of your turn. I just realized I haven't rolled for the smugglers.
Need to go?
Yeah.
Well, they're still there.
They could be help for
Oh
us.
wait, no. Sorry,
Yeah.
I mean,
I was
they
thinking Harkonnen.
exist. I'm not sure. I did roll for the Harkonnens. They exist. As far as whether they're going to help or hurt you, you don't know just yet. But, Talia, what do you want to do?
I want to stand up after, like, using the motion of getting the knife into the femoral artery.
Mhm.
I'm using that momentum to get myself to stand up as
Okay.
I withdraw it, and that person falls. And I go 2 down, 10 to go. And then I'm going to immediately go for the jugular of the closest person to me.
All right. So, because I've got a lot of threat, I am going to spend 2 threat. And they have a focus for short blades. And they have a short blade as an asset. So they're going to roll 5 dice for their battle roll. And any successes will be crit successes. My mouse is in the way. I saw a lot of low numbers, and I'm like, I'm still rolling bad. No, those are actually good rolls. So I've got 4 successes, which turns into 8. So this is technically a DC 8 check for you.
Cool. How many momentum do we have left?
6. We have all the momentum.
Okay, cool. Then I'm going to use 2 and use my slow blade as part of that.
Okay.
So when you make an attack during a duel or a skirmish using a melee weapon and you buy 1 or more dice by spending momentum, you may choose one of the enemy's assets in the same zone as your attack. You can ignore that asset during your attack.
Okay. That will mean one of the rolls didn't happen. So
it's 6, right?
We're going to say, yeah, we'll just say that's 6. It's DC 6 instead of 8.
Okay.
Going forward, if you're going to ignore an asset, let me know before I roll.
Yeah, sorry. I was
That's
reading it and
perfectly
going,
fine.
oh, maybe I should have done that.
Perfectly fine.
And because I'm dirty fighting with the battle, that means any success is a crit success, right?
As long as you feel that you are using dirty tactics, yes.
Oh, I'm going for it. I'm stabbing him in the neck. I'm absolutely using dirty tactics.
You're kicking him in the nuts, and again, you would be very aware of the fact that none of them are using personal shields.
Yeah, so no need to stop things. In which case, only one of my dice even rolled above a 10, so that's 4, so that's 8 success.
So that brings you to 2 more momentum that you gained. Yeah. So as you move forward, you start off 2 down, 10 more to go. Shink, 9, and you keep moving forward. The smugglers don't seem to be involving themselves yet. They're kind of watching Talia, and they're readying weapons and things like that, but they don't seem to have picked a side as of yet. Before that, I'm going to have both, just to make things go a little bit quicker, I'm going to have both Anna, or all 3 of you guys just roll me effectively a battle defense. So just make a battle check, and that will be what these guys are going to roll against.
Are we just rolling against our battle?
Yeah, so technically you're always rolling against yourself. So it's your battle plus a drive. Again, every roll you always add a drive to. So you can use whatever drive you feel is most appropriate. Again, if you're unsure of a drive that would work, just use your quote unquote your default drive, your chosen drive for this adventure. So we're going to start with Anna. Since there are 9 left, each one is going to make effectively 3 attacks. This feels wrong.
I roll 1 success.
Hold on, I'm gonna check to see if maybe I'm. Okay. Yeah, it's not really giving me much other than this is how a test works. Okay. Yes, this is so. There's gonna be 3 attacks against Anna, and they're gonna be difficulty 1. And I'm not going to use any threat for these because there's no reason. Well, that's 4 successes for them.
Alright.
So we'll deal with that in just a second. For Corbin, what do you got for me?
2 successes.
2 successes, gotcha. So 2. Only 2 successes. So they go ahead and hit you, and then for Talia.
So we're just rolling the standard 2d20.
You can buy just like any other check. You can use momentum to buy stuff. If there's a focus that you feel fits really well, you can use it. It's just like any other check.
Okay.
If that changes anything you two want to do, I'll let you re-roll effectively.
I think I'm still dirty fighting.
Okay.
I'm just scaring them to hell and back. So that's 3d20, right?
Dirty fighting means any success.
Okay, yes.
Your knife would give you an additional d20.
Oh, so because
so
I've
it's
got...
the knife is the d20. The dirty fighting is your focus. Does that make sense?
And so does the knife give me that extra d20 when I'm defending?
Yep, the knife is always an asset. So if you're defending with the knife, then yes, that would...
Great. In which case, because one of them met it, I then have 6 successes.
6 successes, cool. They definitely didn't make it. So both Anna and Corbin, see, this just feels weird because just one-shotting you doesn't feel right, but it doesn't tell me how to deal with things where they succeed. Unless you guys are seeing something that I'm not, where it talks about losing combat. I know in the bigger rule book it actually has a whole section, and I just didn't read it for this because I was hoping I would just...
Yeah, I know there's a thing called resisting defeat. Some characters are harder to overcome than others. Yeah. Possessing limited ability to fend off attacks, literally or figuratively, that would allow them, or that would lay them low. Once per scene your character would be defeated, you may choose to resist defeat.
Okay. I don't understand the system very well. I may be completely breaking the system here. I'm going to say that your first loss in this particular case does not defeat you. I'm going to say all of your subsequent checks are going to be made with are going to have your difficulty class increased by 1 as you guys have both been injured. The Mauler rifles start shooting off, and you guys are able to dodge as much as you can, but you both get a blade across your sides and have a pretty deep wound from them. Talia, on the other hand, as you're dodging through and deflecting and things, and I
would absolutely be dodging behind them.
Okay.
Direct bullets to more of their people.
Okay. So that ends that. Corbin.
Yes. I'm pulling out my Mala pistol and I am shooting for some of the riflemen.
Okay. So you can use that as an asset for attacking. You cannot use a Mala pistol as an asset for defending, though.
Got it. If I were to say that I'm also moving, like to try to get to escape these guys that are around me,
Okay.
and try to escape them and move more towards the cover somewhere.
Where specifically are you going for cover?
I don't know if their ornithopter is closer or if
I would say right now they are in between the ornithopter and you, so you would have to travel through all of them to get to it.
so I will be moving towards the smugglers camp a little bit more.
Oh,
if there's
I
like
just
rocks.
realized neither of you two get attacked because they think you're allies.
Right.
Right.
Fools.
So everyone just started shooting at Talia and attacking Talia, and she's just like she's totally matrixing this.
I absolutely want to be the one who holds a guy's hands behind his back and have him get shot up instead of me.
We'll say one more is dead because of that. Mala guns generally shoot darts rather than bullets or things like that because they can fire at lower speeds. So yeah, this guy just and then as you drop him, you see a sword coming. He's like, and another one comes for you. You guys are just watching Talia just absolutely badass as shit. So there's nothing wrong with your rolls. So knowing that, Corbin, what do you wanted to do?
Yes, I will pull out my Mala pistol. I'm going to spend two momentum, and I'm going to try to head towards the smugglers.
Okay.
And I don't know if that counts as escaping. I'm trying to use my focus, basically.
I'll say yeah. That sounds like an escape type thing.
Okay. And
I will
then
say
I will.
if this goes poorly for you, you not only have to deal with the Harkonnens, but the smugglers are not going to be particularly fond of you if it goes poorly as well. So
Right. But I'm shooting the guys with the Mala rifles.
okay, go for it.
Oh, that is glorious.
I never know what it is when you first start reading.
Just go, oh.
My highest roll was a
dead.
9.
Oh, okay, that's beautiful.
So that's 8 success.
All right. So yeah, as you start diving, what do you want to say to the smugglers to let them know that you are not their enemy? Because right now you've got a pistol drawn and you're running towards them. You're going to fire at the other guys, but split-second decision, you know, as soon as they see someone running towards them, they're going to just fill you. They're going to light you up. So how are you going to convince them in a split second not to shoot you?
Baron Harkonnen's a dick! Boom.
Okay. All right, so you sit there and go, and then just start bolting. I'll say, because your main focus is on getting away, I'm going to say you only kill one of them.
Okay.
But you are able to get there, and you currently have an asset of cover against ranged attacks.
As a note, that's 5 down, 7 to go.
So I will say that's 7 left. Do we get momentum back from that?
Yes, everything over. I should probably make the roll. Not that it matters. You know what? Just going forward, this is the difficulty for them. I'm not going to use any threat for them. Going forward, if I spend any threat, it'll just increase the difficulty class like it would normal, and it costs 2 threat to do that. So going forward, looks like the difficulty is going to be 4 against for any attack against them. So,
Okay.
that being said, Anna, you just watched as Corbin, like, point blank, Baron Harkonnen's a dick, and bolts. And Talia is like,
Yeah.
bringing her Jedi training up, apparently, to bear.
I would say that, well, everyone did try and buy Corbin and Talia. I'll be sneaking up behind a few of them. And I had the small consumable knife
Okay.
that I imagine to be like a Toronto type.
Okay.
And then you might sneak attack and stab whatever right in the back or something.
Definitely. Go ahead and make your attack.
So that, how many momentum?
All the momentum.
We have
Alright.
6 momentum, so
You, it's at this point, you guys have not started a single round without 6 momentum, because every time you
Alright.
spend some, you get 42 back. So,
So, I'll buy 3 because why not?
well, you can only buy 2 because
I'll
your
buy
knife is an
2
asset.
then. Alright.
So you
I'll
get to roll
buy-
5 dice, but you only need to buy 2.
Alright. And let's see, that would be... So that would be 6.
Definitely. So you again just kind of go up behind someone and chink, and they fall on the ground. And with your training, you probably would have picked someone near the back. So as of right now, no one has noticed that they are 1 less. That being said, moving back up to Talia.
Did Talia notice because she's keeping a running count?
Yeah, she would notice.
Okay.
And if you want to bring that up, you can, but that would reveal to them that another one of them has died.
We already had the 7 to go there. I think that I could hold still for a second, as in hold my tongue for a second, not actually stand still for a second. I am literally like shouting insults about their house, kicking people in the nuts, going for kneecaps, going as hard in as I can, and trying to cause as much terrifying bloodshed as possible.
I'll say for this, because to keep things moving a little bit more, and the fact that Talia is untouchable, I'm going to say for every 2 successes above which you need, that's another dead.
Okay, awesome.
So, would you like to use any momentum and or determination today?
No.
And again,
'cause I
another
just
thing.
rolled.
Oh, I was about to say another thing that you can do is you can burn 2 momentum to lower the difficulty class for a check by 1.
What is the difficulty class?
It's 4 for all of these.
So cool. I got 6 then from
Okay.
my 3, so I killed 2 more.
So you go shing shing, and 2 more drop to the ground. They seem to be getting a little bit more panicked.
At that point, I would like to say, who's next?
And as you say that, you look behind the people that you are fighting, and you suddenly see a sight that you most definitely did not want to see.
It's my father. Come to scold me.
Yes, your father is here, and he's like, Talia, you've been very naughty.
Look at the mess you made.
You see the sand rising behind you. You see little sparks of electricity going behind it. You hear from one of the smugglers behind you, "Worm sign!" And now everything changes. We are moving on to the next scene, so lower the momentum by 1, which means it's at 5 instead of the maximum.
No!
So
Guys.
annoyed, Joey.
You guys never have less than 5. I'm going to start just threat all the time. All the threat.
You gave me the option of a character who goes to violence when threatened.
Yeah,
Me.
I mean... so all of you can see the sand moving, and you actually watch it start to kind of fall towards this growing wave of sand. And it starts off as just a minor disturbance, but it gets bigger and bigger. Within less than a second, it's taller than the ornithopter. Within a few more seconds, it's taller than the rocky outcropping that is in a nearby. And as it gets even taller and taller, it just keeps growing. 40, 50, 60 feet tall wave of sand coming towards you. What would you all like to do?
I'm running for the rocks and gesturing for everyone to just move, move, move.
I'm also running for the rocks, and as I run, I'm going to see if I can kill any more of the guys I've been up against.
Corbin, make me a difficulty 2 understanding to the test.
Okay. I'm going to use a can you use 2 of our momentum.
Okay.
I got 2 success.
Okay. The rocky outcropping nearby you is Play-Doh compared to this worm. The worm will be able to crush it completely. However, the caves further away would actually provide protection against the worm.
So I will direct everyone towards the caves.
All right. We're about to make a different kind of test. This is what's called an extended test. I'm going to have everyone make difficulty 1 move tests to run as fast as they can towards the caves. The way an extended test works is you need to get a number of points in order to make the test. And every time you succeed on the test, you get 1 point, and then you can use momentum to add additional points, 1 point per momentum. Depending on how many times you have to roll to beat the test will decide your fate as far as the overall completion and the effects of either succeeding or failing at the test. So we'll stay in initiative order to make things simple. Talia, go ahead and make me a difficulty. Or actually, everyone can go ahead and your first round. We'll start with Talia, but you guys can make your first roll. Or no, because momentum can change things. Let's start with Talia. Do you want to use any momentum to give you extra dice?
Yes.
Okay.
And are you gonna let me choose the skill?
The skill is move.
Okay.
You have to use the. I mean, if you can come up with a way that you could use something else, I'm open to listening. But
Nope. Story-wise, I had an idea, but it's less than move, so I will just be very stealthily trying to move away from this worm in a random pattern and very quickly try and survive. Which,
Right.
by the way, stealth is my focus. So, okay.
I would say at this point, your stealth wouldn't really apply because there's no way to be stealthy about this. Even with your at this point, the worm is already here. It doesn't matter if you move without rhythm. The worm's already here. It's already been attracted. So this is just a mad dash.
I assume Talia doesn't know if worms have eyes and is just going to assume it can see her.
Yeah.
That's just an internal thought process. Okay. So that would then be 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay. So because you succeed, you get 1 point. And you gain 1 momentum. If you want to use additional momentum, you can get additional points. Again, you need to get 6 points total to actually succeed. And the more times you roll against this test, the worse the effects are going to be. So knowing that, what would you like to use?
How many momentum do we have?
You started
3,
with
I believe.
We have 5?
We had 5. I think somebody used 2. And you just used 1 more. So we were at...
I didn't use momentum yet.
Oh.
When the scene started, you guys had 5. And this is the first roll of the scene.
Yeah.
No.
Or no, you used, for your knowledge check, you used 2. So you started this roll with 3 momentum.
Okay.
And you just gained 1 more from your success, so...
Okay. So... I will use 1 for right now.
Okay, so you have 2 successes.
I don't know what number I'm going for, but we'll see.
6. You need 6 successes to win.
Cool.
Okay.
Corbin.
I'm going to use a determination.
Okay.
So that's 3 die.
I can't tell if those are good noises.
That's 0 successes.
Oh.
I got a nat 20.
So,
Good job.
A nat 20 creates a complication.
Okay.
So, as you are going, you start going and you immediately twist your ankle. All move-based tasks are going to have the difficulty increased by 1 for you until you can set the ankle.
Okay. I'd like to think I was like directing the smugglers towards the caves and wasn't paying attention.
Definitely. Anna. So you watch as Talia bolts off and just is running as fast as you can. You look over and you watch as Corbin is trying to save people, and then you watch him just cry out in pain as he goes down and he grabs his ankle. He starts standing up. You can see him limping rather heavily. What would you like to do?
So my benefit how it apply a move that requires the control of my body.
I would say because this isn't really let me look here real quick. This isn't really fine control of your body. This is running. I will say, because you went behind all of the Harkonnens, you are closer to their ornithopter than anyone else.
I will go through the cop.
Okay. So if you're gonna go for the ornithopter, I'm not gonna have you make a move test. You have to deal with the remaining. I think there was 4 Harkonnens. They're going to be running for the ornithopter as well. And as far as they know, you are an ally. They didn't see you kill anyone, and despite the fact that their buddy is dead,
I just assume it was Talia.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, everybody killed Wiz Talia.
No. Corbin got one.
Hey, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm fine blaming her.
I'm fine giving her the credit.
How do you want to deal with Harkonnens? Do you want to get in with them? Do you want to try and prevent them from getting on? What are your thought process on this?
Can I try to get in ahead of them?
So just get there and lift off before they can get in.
Yeah.
I would say that's going to be really hard, but you can definitely try. I'd say it'll be a difficulty 4 movement task. But you can definitely try.
Yeah, I'll try it. I will see if we have.
Currently, I believe you guys have 2 momentum, right, Corbin?
I think 3 momentum.
3 momentum.
Yeah, because I used one but replaced it.
Okay.
I will buy 2 of them, I guess.
Okay.
So. It will be 3 successes.
Okay. So it's not quite enough to succeed. I will say you are able to lift off the ornithopter, but you have one of the Harkonnens in the ornithopter with you, who is now very upset with you that you have left the other the 3 behind. She's like, go back for the other ones. What are you doing? We will deal with that in a second. Going back to Talia, you are booking it.
So at this point, I would like to move my skill to be understand, which is worth less, but my focus is danger sense. And I think that this is very much a time where I am sensing danger.
So my question to you would be, because technically this task is a move task. So how would your danger sense and how would understanding help you to move faster?
I am understanding that if I don't get my butt into those caves, I will absolutely be killed by this giant ass worm. I feel like Jody doesn't want to let me have this and is trying to figure
No, what it is, I'd like to let you have it. I don't, because the understand skill is entirely a knowledge-based skill. So using it for an active role, in this case for movement, doesn't really work. So I'm going to say I can't let you use that. The explanation
fight or
you
flight,
gave,
right? When you get into a dangerous situation, your adrenaline starts pumping, and then you actually can move faster or lift heavy objects.
Absolutely, but it's still reliant entirely on your musculature. Like a fight or flight response for me is not going to give me the ability to balance on a tightrope or anything like that, because my musculature is just not designed for that. I'm still
but
limited
the point
by
here, like, right, we're running as fast as we can. So
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to use that skill to inspire me to run literally at my limits. To have the adrenaline hormone
it's
released into the bloodstream.
It's a good try. I'm gonna say I can't let you use it on this one. I can't justify specifically the understand. Just because, again, that's entirely knowledge, and fight or flight is autonomic nervous system. It has nothing to do with your knowledge. It's automatic stuff.
I'm totally fine with this. I'm not trying to argue at this
Absolutely.
point, but I will say that gut feelings are a way of understanding that is not mentally understanding. So
Understand completely.
putting that forth.
No, I don't deny that. I'm just saying mechanically for this system, that explanation doesn't justify 4 understand. Is all I'm saying.
Well, fine. I got 2 successes.
2 successes. You're still moving forward. That's still a success. Do you want to
How
burn?
much momentum do we have?
Still
There's
3.
one.
Or is there 1
Or-
left?
There's one left.
Oh yeah, so there's 1 left.
Yeah, so we didn't get any momentum from Anna's
No.
turn.
And remember, all of you have 1 point of determination as well, if you want to ever use that.
Would that count as an extra dice?
That
or-
gives you an extra die.
Okay,
You wouldn't be able to use it for extra points.
And we only get 1 point for
So
succeeding?
succeeding, whether it's 1 success or 42 successes, you get 1 point for succeeding, and then because it's a difficulty 1 task, anything over that gives you a momentum point. So
Okay. And have I returned any momentum? Because I got 2, right?
you got 2, so you got 1 more momentum.
Cool. So then I will use 1 momentum.
Okay. So you have 4 of the 6 points you need to succeed. You are continuing to run. You can feel the sand is now starting to slope downward as the worm is getting larger and larger, and more sand is going to the place where it has displaced the sand. Going to Corbin.
Okay, so I now that I've twisted my ankle, and I have to have 2, I'm going to use a determination to get 1 more dice, and then I'm going to buy some threat.
Okay. Oh, I forgot.
Because-
You could also do that.
Because reasons, and I'm going to move boldly through the sand. And can we agree that this is escaping?
You know what? I am okay with, like, this is 100% this is escaping.
Tried so hard.
Sorry, if it was anything else, like, you were real close, but I just, it wasn't enough for me.
Okay, so 12 is my target. Whoosh. I rolled a lot of dice and only got 3 successes, but since this is escaping, that's 6 successes.
All right. So for you, it's a difficulty 2 task because of your ankle. That's still 4 successes. So that's
Yes.
4 successes over what you know to need. So that's 4 momentum.
Yes.
So you have 1 point. Do you want to burn any momentum to give you more points?
But I think we're at 5 because of those 4.
Are we trying to get 6 for
Each.
all of us?
Each
or
one of
each?
you needs to get 6 points in
Ooh.
order to get away from the worm.
Oh,
And I have
I'll say
a point.
Yeah, I'll say, Anna, you are going an alternate route. You are not worrying about points.
I will also say I only need 2 more points to be done.
Would it be
So,
wrong
like,
of
If
me to
you want
take
to use
3?
3, go for it.
Okay, I'm going
That's
to use
literally
3.
what I was going to suggest. If you tried to take 5, we might have words.
So
but-
despite your ankle really hurting you, you are booking it and you are slowly catching up to Talia.
I love the idea if you had taken 5 of you just like rushing past me.
Just like,
Somehow.
don't have to be
your
the
ankle-
fastest, just not the slowest.
On your left.
Don't say it.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Anna, you have a very angry Harkonnen who is pointing a Mala rifle at you, saying, go back down. But you are in the driver's chair of this Ornithopter. So knowing that information, what would you like to do?
would I still be able to find it if I tried stabbing the guy?
I would say if it would depend on if you want to both pilot and kill him. I'm going to say that would be very, very difficult. I'll call it a difficulty 4 task. You can do it, but it would be difficult. If you want to try using the ornithopter itself to deal with him, that would be a different thing entirely.
Oh, right.
Go
If you want to try
sideways,
and
dump him
talk him down, that would be, it's entirely up to you how you want to do this. Depending on what you decide to do, the difficulty of it is going to change.
I think it's try to throw him out.
Okay. I'm going to say that's a difficulty 3 movement to the task.
Alright.
Because you also will have to deal with the fact that you are flying sideways.
So, movement. Again. Yeah, because I haven't chosen who the people I'm with.
Okay.
So, if they have a new budget to be taken for one.
Sorry, I didn't get that last part. What did you sister say?
I will use budget to be taken.
Okay. So that'll give you 3 dice.
Yeah.
Did you want to use any momentum or no?
Yeah, I'll use one, I guess.
Okay.
And then with my palette apply. With it being
Not for this. This is piloting. Is what it is. This isn't fine motor control. This is your piloting.
Controls.
Unless you're trying to conceive a child with the ornithopter, I'm going to say no.
Please do try.
You're conceiving a child. I'll say you can pick the gender if you make the save, and you can use that. But
What's the gestation period on? He's outside a door. He's not in the room. And the mic is directed at me. And when I move too far away, you can't hear me.
That would be 3.
that's just enough. So as you're going up, he's like, "Go back," and you're like, "Oh, of course!" And you turn sharp, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he falls out.
Yay.
As of right now, if you do nothing else, you can get away from the worm. However, you would be leaving your allies and the smugglers to their fates.
Yeah.
When we come back to you, you can make the decision. Going back, though, if you fail, you're going to get nommed. So. Going back to Talia, you're real close. You can see the caves.
Yeah, I already rolled while waiting because
Okay, that's
so
fine.
funny.
That's fine.
So I got 2 successes.
All right, so that's you're 1 point away.
So with Anna's turn, how many momentum did we get from that? Did we get any?
Anna
it
didn't
met
get
it?
any because it met. So.
Okay. And I have added 1, so I will take 1, which leaves you with 1 and a need for a success, Corbin. So
Got it.
that puts me at my 6.
All right, so as you're running, you just barely make it. You can feel solid ground underneath your feet as you get there, and you turn back to see Corbin.
Buying some threat.
Okay.
Which I forgot last time. So I'm gonna I'm gonna buy 2 threat, or use 2 threat, buy 2 more, so that's 4 dice. I'm moving boldly. I forgot I should have been able to re-roll one of those ones. But anyways.
You don't want to re-roll ones.
I could have re-rolled one of my die that I failed on. And I don't need to re-roll any of these. That's 8 successes.
Yay!
Escaping.
All right.
So that's 1 plus, then you'll use the momentum, and then you topped us off to 6 momentum again.
Well, it's difficulty 2, so theoretically, you guys would have 4 momentum now, if my math is correct.
I got 8 successes.
It was difficulty 2, so you had 6. You
6
started
over.
with, so there would be 6 momentum. If you burn 1, that would be 5. Then
Well,
then
yeah,
it's
because
5.
we had one, and he
Yeah,
used
Yep.
that for his other
max.
point.
Yeah, you're
I-
totally right. So
We're
yeah,
at 5?
you were at 6.
Oh, okay.
So you guys make it. Talia, you look around as Corbin is just dudding. He dives on, and you see solid ground. You see most of the smugglers have made it as well. As Anna starts to kind of take off, you watch as the mountain of sand begins to fall away, and you see the massive maw of the sandward come up. The teeth easily. Go ahead.
Plot point, can we say that the guy that Anna dumped out of the opter goes into the maw as it is revealed to us?
Sure. So as Anna is climbing, you guys watch as the ornithopter goes up, and you watch it turn, and you see one Harkonnen soldier just start falling, and you see it kind of land, and as the kind of waterfall of sand goes away, you watch him go down and impale himself on one of the 30 to 50 feet long needle-like teeth. One of the hundreds, if not thousands, you can see as this skyscraper-sized thing comes up, completely demolishing the camp, the outcropping, the Harkonnens that are still there, and as it does that, it moves towards you, and you just see this massive maw staring at you, as you can see into the abyss of its insides.
Talia, just when the rest of the enemy is flattened, she's gonna go, 0 to go.
And I'll just like hold everybody back and just bless the maker and his water.
You watch as it slowly goes back out. From behind you, you hear, bless the maker and his water. Or, bless the maker and his water. And you look behind you, and the caves which were empty a moment ago, there's a person there. We move to a new scene, reduce momentum by 1.
Oh no. Sorry.
I got a lot of threat, buddy.
You do.
A lot of threat.
Yeah, but you've only got 23 minutes to use it, so...
It's a curious phrase to hear from someone clearly not of our kind. To whom am I speaking?
I am Corbin Bralik. I mean no offense. It is something I have heard Fremen use, and it seems appropriate.
I would warn you against using phrases that you do not know the purpose of. You may risk offending someone you did not mean to.
Thank you for your wisdom, and I will be more careful in the future.
I think that is where we may have a disagreement. Exactly what future do you assume you have? You have trespassed you have trespassed on our land, and your friends here have stolen from the makers. By right, we should kill you all.
Talia hasn't put away her knife, by the way.
I will just. We were not aware of that. How can we make this right?
It's a strange, yet again, phrase to be hearing from Outlanders. We have dealt with Outlanders for a very long time. We have never heard them ask to make things right.
The Outlanders you were dealing with before were the Harkonnens.
And before that, there were another house with another name. And before that, another house with another name. We have existed for a very long time. This is our home. And the one thing that is certain every to the time is the houses may change, but their influence does not. They are here to steal the spice and to defile the makers.
Duke Leto is the new House Atreides. We were sent out by Duncan Idaho, who I believe has had some contact with your people. The Atreides are not like other houses. They value their people. They wish for everyone's prosperity, not just their own. And they wish to create that prosperity through mutual benefit.
I do not know this Duncan Idaho that you speak of. But you bless the Maker and honor him. So perhaps we can come to an agreement. One of your friends has use of an ornithopter and was able to escape with her life.
Yes.
If you can convince them to, because he wouldn't know it was a girl, you can convince them to return and take you and your friends and never come back to this area again, we may allow you to leave with your lives.
I think that is incredibly fair.
You are much wiser than many I have dealt with.
I have had some dealings with Fremen in the past, and have learned to respect them. Especially in dealings in the desert.
Your candor speaks well of your house. Perhaps, for once, your house may be different. Fear the Maker, and in fear respect him.
Yes.
With that, to kind of keep things going. And I'm assuming, Anna, you want to cook a comeback for them? Or you just want
Yeah.
Anna's like, bitch, please. Talia went nuts. I'm not getting her.
I will say once Anna brings the thopter down, I will look for any water that may be on the thopter.
Okay.
And offer the Harkonnens water to the
The Harkonnens are dead.
Well, but any water that was on, if they had any,
they would have.
I will give that freely to the Fremen.
Okay. They seem to be very pleased with this, though you do see them instantly test the water to check for poisons and other things like that. They're not 100% certain.
Yeah.
You guys are able to get everyone. The Harkonnen Thopter is much larger. Again, it carried 12 people on it. That's much larger than the one, and you guys are able to make it back over the shield wall. To kind of wrap this up, telling Duncan exactly what happened, he is pleased with how you handled yourself, but seems rather surprised about what happened. The smugglers are folded into the chain of command in an unofficial capacity. And you all are to be decorated by Lady Jessica herself when she arrives in 2 weeks' time. Until that point, you are expected to attend to your duties, etc.
I'm absolutely going to ask the handmaiden how they knew to aim for that spot on the back of the head.
How would you like to respond?
You were better please.
Indeed. When we go back to our duties, Talia is going to keep a close eye on.
And that is where we're going to end it for tonight. I will guarantee you I did not run that correctly, but I hope you guys at least had some fun. For anyone watching this, I hope you guys enjoyed that. The system itself is really dynamic and really cool. I probably... one of the reasons I do things like this is I have read the system itself. I've read the core book 12 times at this point. But you don't really figure out a system and the important parts until you run it. And so I learned a ton here. I know exactly the things that I want to look up if and when I ever run the system again. I believe it is on sale. I believe it's Modius Entertainment or something like that.
Yes.
Sure. Feel free to pick it up. It's a really cool system. I'm thinking it's amazing. And yeah, if you missed any of this or any of the other one-shots that I've done this month, they're all on my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/TrainerJody. I tend to upload all of my Wednesday games on Sundays. So on Sunday you can check this out there. Otherwise, again, that's all for me, Lynn. I'll see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.